Okay, 1657, it's 13 August 2019. We just decided to spare you all the excruciating 2 minutes of me messing around with the camera. I think we've got the audio and video going, and so we'll just kind of wait out and see who joins. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, 1700, and if anybody's going to join, let's go ahead and figure that out. And if not, we'll just kind of wait out. We'll wait for somebody to join. Let's see if I can get a video going.
My mama told me something when I was growing up that has forever changed my life. She played the piano when I was a third time through the 37 years. She tried to teach me to play the piano when I was a third grade. She would teach me the names of the notes, a major key, what a minor key is. She tried to teach me musical theory, but I was bored. Then one day, she told me that the best news in the world is found by playing a simple scale of the piano. I had no idea what she meant. So she told me to play an 8-note scale. Yeah. I said, how is that good news? And she said, I played it incorrectly and that I needed to play it the other way. So I did. Again, I said, how is that good news? She said, I played it the right way, but I needed to add the pause. The pauses. She said, the pauses. Add them on the first, second, fourth, sixth, seventh, and the last note. Now, I was frustrated. I said, how can 8 notes with random pauses be the best news in the world? And I got up, walked away, and went outside. Frankly, I didn't care what she was talking about. I didn't like that. Well, years later, my mom got sick. What? As I was thinking, I remember what she told me. Not only that, I still remember the notes she 6th, 7th, and last note. So I sat down at the piano and played the scale with the phone. And that's when I realized the good news he was talking about.
Not bad, huh? Thought that was pretty good. All right, so as we look in Zoom, or in Zoom, look in Boodle, you can see that we just finished week 6. You'll see that the article that week was on Snap's Spiegel, overhauling his leadership team. Wanted you to kind of go through this and take some time and do the analysis. Most of you did a fine job. Some of you did some extra time, and with a little extra research found out that Mr. Spiegel has got some challenges as far as leadership style. Keyed in on that, and then you went from there. And that was a fine job. It's exactly what I was looking for. Those of you that didn't, or if you didn't go out and find the research, still within the framework of the article, you can find some interesting things. What I want to do here is tell you that, as you can see on my screen here, and let's see if I can't blow that up a little bit. That seems to be a little better. All right, so we see that Snap's Steven Spiegel was founded in September 2011. Now, some of you said you don't know much about social media. That's fine. Okay, in case of all of these, it doesn't require you to know the business. That helps a little bit, and so as much as you can find out will help you out. If you were going to be a consultant for this company, if you're going to be hired to provide some leadership instruction or motivational speaking, I guarantee you, knowing more about the company and what it does is going to make your life easier and make your job a lot easier. You'll find that in a class that we teach later on. You'll find that in LDR 440, I think, no, 460, teamwork. Anyway, again, you don't have to know the business, but it helps. Anyway, what I'll point you to is they've done some changes after a bad year. Remember my 7 elements for organizational success slide. Okay, 3 who's and 4 hows. And I'm showing that slide right now on the screen. Who to recruit, who to promote, who to make a senior leader, how to organize, equip, train, and execute your mission. It's that simple. It's no more complicated than that. Get any of the above wrong, one of them wrong, you're going to have some trouble. Get a lot of them wrong, get more than 2 wrong, and that organization's going to self-destruct. But think about it, it's true. If you don't know how to organize, if you don't train your people, if you don't hire the right people, you're not executing your mission right, all those things are going to pile up. Anyway, so from a perspective of who to make a senior leader, it comes down to the right fit for the organization. One of the aspects is, do you hire from within or do you bring somebody in from the outside? Hiring from within, if somebody leaves, then somebody's worked their way up. And the promotion opportunities are there in that organization. That rewards loyalty. People are going to appreciate that. I'm working for an organization. I have a chance to someday become a senior vice president. Problem is that you risk perpetuating what you got wrong the previous year, never snapped it off a bad year. People that were around for that, may think, hey, we're doing okay. There was nothing wrong with what we did. It was outside influence. Whether that's true or not, there's some danger with that. So alternatively, do you hire from the outside? Well, again, that's going to bring two sides of the coin. First is that it's going to damage loyalty. It sends a bad signal to those that have been in the organization for a long time and worked hard to see that somebody from the outside came in. That's very difficult to work with. But it brings in somebody with fresh perspectives and a less inclination towards, well, we've already done it this way, or will contribute to what we call groupthink. And again, remember your leadership experience, your DAPT text, right? 7th edition, tells you that high-performance teams don't just arise spontaneously. It's a process and a mindset. It requires a methodology. It's got to be practiced over and over. And I think your protagonist in this article hopefully now knows it. Those of you that found outside information and have learned, he's got some learning to do, and hopefully he has. Anyway, so again, from the DAPT text, you recall that there are certain elements in our leaders that are required for high performance, no matter the industry. It doesn't matter if we're talking social media. It doesn't matter if we're talking military, if we're talking government, if we're talking, retail, whether we're talking Chick-fil-A or Nike. And that is, there better be a compelling purpose for what we're doing, clear objectives of where we're heading, and how we're going to measure that, what are called explicit metrics. Need that diversity of skills, unambiguous roles. Hey, who's in charge? Who's doing what? And then streamline team size, which speaks to how we organize. Optimum team size, your textbook in the LDR, I think again, 440 leadership class, tells you the optimum team size is about 8. And part of that gets into span of control. The high-performance teams also require decision authority over how to achieve the goals. People tend to like being in charge of their own destiny. And you also need a lot of support and coaching. Now, remember from the LDR text, and I'm going to transition, a chart that you got in Exhibit 10, leading teams, out of your DAPT text. Okay, and this is how teams, the team stages. Remember, forming, storming, norming, performing, and dreaming. Okay, a lot of your textbooks will have 4. DAPT text use 5, adding that a journey. How you wind up a team after task completion. Remember, very important. You write to people in rewards. You capture lessons learned. You close out. Regardless, when you hire in a new leadership team, you've essentially restarted. So now you're in that forming stage again. So you're going to go through that forming, storming, and norming, which takes a predominant amount of time, as you can see from the chart. And it's not until finally you get into the forming stage that things actually happen. Think about when you're writing a paper for any of your classes at University of Moodle. You tend to do your best work the night before the paper's due, right? I'm just kidding. Hopefully I'm kidding. Anyway, so the bottom line here is that bringing in new people from the inside hopefully will compress that forming, storming, norming because they've been in the organization and they know a little bit more about it. Certainly, if you know the people, that helps. Bringing people from the outside, you've got to learn each other and go through these processes. If you go back in your text, go back and look at each of these stages. Look at what the leader is supposed to be doing in each of these stages. And that gives some compelling background information for you. Okay, so hiring from within brings advantages against in that sense. I just talked about that. All right, hopefully it gets us closer to the performance step when we hire from within, particularly if we're coming off a bad year. Okay, we don't have much time left. We've got to get this ship turned around. Remember also last week I gave you slides in the process to build your position statement. Review those if you need to. So I asked you to write a position statement on this article. You could have followed that process, those slides I gave. I came up with what you see on my screen now, and that is Evan Spiegel, the position statement. My conclusion is he's building an effective team because he recognizes the importance of strong leadership and teamwork. He's hiring from within, which demonstrates loyalty, and that hiring from within reduces the time to get to the performance stage of team development. These are just, this took like 2 seconds. Okay, and I'm not saying this is the greatest, by far not. And it doesn't have to be what you came up with, but come up with something, make your conclusion, and then the evidence that you use to support it, what we call the fundamental relationship, the one that matters the most. When building your evidence, we're talking 3 to 5 keys that you're using to support your argument. So for a lot of you, in your papers, when you write, words to the effect of, I believe Evan Spiegel is doing the right thing, you end it right there. That's fine. That's your conclusion. All for that. But you got to convince me. Got to convince your reader. So put that evidence in there. Bring in those 3 to 5 things that you're using to prove your point. Because it's a leadership class, those leadership things come out of here. Okay? Whatever you want to pick. Okay? For right now, I just want you to do that. Okay? And then we can start diving deeper. If you think Spiegel is not an effective leader because of the information you found outside, that was a wonderful tack. A couple of you did that. You knocked it out of the park. And you brought in that outside information, and then you distilled it and went through leadership styles. He's authoritative in nature. He's demanding in nature. Okay, things that he may need to fix. Perfect. It's wonderful. Okay. Anyway, I hope you see what I'm doing. Okay, there are a lot of different approaches or other approaches you might have used. You could key in on diversity. You could have noted how there was 3 to 4 females that were paid settlements teams because they felt unfairly targeted during the layoff, and they may have been. Okay. So if there was a problem in the last round of layoffs with females, look what he did when he hired his new human resources vice president, or whatever you want to call it. In fact, I think the article calls her, staff calls her their chief people officer. Okay. Well, she's female and she has a skill set to succeed, which is going to be critical. All right. You'll note he's had to turn over 6 senior positions within the last 6 months, and there's been a lot of personal turbulence. Turns out he's got some responsibility on that. Regardless of who's responsible, it's critical for Spiegel, and I said CRO, I meant CEO, it's critical for Spiegel to get his picks right and get them established. Okay? As we said earlier, leadership longevity provides consistency for the culture and the vision of the organization, allows employees to move forward with important initiatives. Okay? That tenure, that leadership tenure, provides an important impact on the culture and ultimately the success. Again, how we execute our mission. The more time you spend flailing around, picking the right people, getting your team in place, the less time you're spending on that performance stage, the less time you've got to get this thing turned around. All right. The article about Spiegel provides important insights into his extensive leadership role and the aspects of building teams. Again, nowhere in this article and in the above, in my review of the article, do I talk to you about social media or finance or building a customer base or marketing your product. Okay? This is a leadership class. So we're able to go into these organizations with a view outside of what their business model is. What are the leadership principles that you would learn that can help out as it relates to the CEO or the protagonist, and as it relates to a team? Okay, leadership and team. In fact, when you read the article, you would see that I highlight. Okay, this was about team. Right, so given that, the article gives you a lot of information about what you build. There's challenges of vision and implementation. Okay, he's got a vision for his organization and how he wants to get there. And there's some people that couldn't work with that. And so they've walked or they've left for a variety of reasons. The challenge of explaining the organization in an effective way is important. Okay, particularly, not since, but particularly if the organization relies on charitable contributions and appropriations from Congress. That was from an earlier article, and I know, and I apologize for that. Okay, but the challenge of knowing people, or ensuring people know your culture, your ethics, that they're enforced, that you walk the walk, remember from LBR 300, is the realm of the leader. Okay? And as you establish that direction, if you're doing it with a stick, beating people into submission, that old adage, beatings will continue until morale improves. Okay, well, that's the culture of that organization. And that's going to attract a certain type of person. And a certain type of person is not going to thrive well. So if you got an organization that is information technology dependent, then that tends to imply an organization that attracts to millennials and those that are more creative and tend to enjoy working on computers. And that you have to stay ahead of technology because things are changing so rapidly. What's the new product? What's the new thing? Compare that, contrast with a more conservative organization. It doesn't have to innovate as much. Regardless, the purpose of management is to provide that order of consistency. The purpose of leadership is to provide the change of movement, in order to establish that direction, align resources, and energize people to accomplish the mission. A lot of these activities are similar in both management and leadership. That said, there's a different focus. When we look and we note that if there's solid management, meaning somebody providing work consistency, and there's solid leadership, people that are providing change and movement, then this organization is going to succeed and it's going to last forever. Think of the Salvation Army, think of any long-term, Levi Strauss, okay? Think of, the New England Patriots, okay, as they continue to win Super Bowls. They have the right people, they've got the right leadership, they've got the right management. If there's solid management and poor leadership, then the organization is going to reliably accomplish the wrong things, and that's going to magnify over time. And eventually that organization is going to fall into the life cycle. It's going to rapidly gain, mature, and then it's going to decline. Think Blockbuster. Okay, they had the majority of movie rentals back in the day, but they never transitioned to an online or a Dropbox type of setup. So you had to be there at the right time, before, after, they opened and closed, and they weren't open every day. Anyway, if there's poor management but solid leadership, then we're going to see inconsistent performance. You may have the right vision. Everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, but you may be a poorly executed football team. You have the right vision. People are energized. You got the talent, but you're just not putting the product on the field. I'm a Florida State University, Florida State Seminoles. And last year, there's a new head coach and new assistant coaches. The talent on that team was there, but the coaching wasn't. And so you had inconsistent performance, in fact, very poor performance on the field that it showed with their first losing record in about 4 years. Anyway, so times as leaders, we get stuck in the comfort of here and now. So instead of pushing beyond our comfort zone, we come complacent, stagnant. And this will set a trap for any organization. The leader doesn't have that picture of an ambitious, desirable future for the organization, the team, and the ability to implement some, then organizational decline and death is inevitable. So this is what I gave you as far as feedback on the past article. As we go forward, let me close this out, and let me bring up something that I talked about in the announcements. So I'm back on the Moodle. Forgive me, scroll through this. LDR 340 announcements, which is following. Okay. Hopefully, at this point, all of you have seen this. This is where all the announcements are. Okay. I know you get emails, but if you need to go in, click on some of these, you can. I've sent you the grading rubric I'm going to use for your leadership case study paper. Okay, highlighting that PDF, you'll find it. Let's open it real fast so take a quick look. Okay. And again, remember the total points for your paper is 30. I'm going to take 21 of those 30 points and apply that to what your content is, whether you met the objectives, if you answered every question, if you understand the concepts of leadership, you demonstrated me that if you put in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you please told me something about it, that I can understand you understand. And then what's your critical thinking, that analysis. You go through the problem, the decision, the evaluation. If you identify a protagonist, you go through those processes that you got. And then how were you able to synthesize that? Okay, I don't want you regurgitating your work. Okay, you got to be able to synthesize it into answering those specific questions. That doesn't mean you don't do it. It means taking what you've done, your work, synthesizing that into a form that makes an effective argument to support your position statement. And then finally, an evaluation. In other words, I want to see if you make acceptable judgments based on the evidence and criteria that you use. Okay? On the back side of the rubric, it tells you that I'm going to take 9 points, split that in 2. Half will go to organization and structure, half will go to style and grammar. Let's talk style and grammar first. I'm not an English major. That said, I know what I look at, and I know capitalization rules. Okay, at the very least, show some originality and in the tone that you use when you talk. In your paper, any paper you write, understand who your audience is. In this case, who is your audience for this paper? Me. Okay, so how would you talk to me is what I mean by originality and tone. If you're just regurgitating words out of the text, I'm going to see it because I've read the text. Okay? Rhetoric, convincing in the use of language. You used the words properly. Remember, brevity is the soul of wit. You made a well-developed argument that's been supported by logic. In other words, you had those 3 or 5 pieces of evidence for your position statement. And then mechanics and punctuation. All right, if there are a few mistakes, you could still score high. Just little or none is what I guess I would say. Some mistakes, still satisfactory, but if there's frequent mistakes, and not just in capitalization and spelling, but also in word use, proofread your paper. Microsoft's not going to pick up on a word that is spelled correctly but is misused. Okay. Then let's look up here for the other 4.5 points. Is an organizational structure, thesis. Do you have a position statement? Go to those slides. Position statement and thesis. What is it? Did you support your argument? What was the evidence you used? Again, 3 to 5. principles is what I recommend you do. And then structure. Did you organize and structure things? Do you have an introduction? Do you have a body? Do you have a conclusion? Do you have transitions? I'm sorry, transitions in a way. But are you focused on that theme, or do you kind of go wandering off? Syntax and construction gets into how your sentences, are they complete? Are they grammatical? Do you have run-ons? Do you have fragments? Your word choice is good for precise meanings. There should be a distinct, coherent point to a paragraph, and then as you go on to the next point, the next paragraph, right? And then ultimately, the paper should connect, logic. And then connections and transitions, remember the transition from paragraph to paragraph needs to be effective, not haphazard, not missing. Paragraphs should naturally flow. Okay. If you've laid out three pieces of evidence, A, B, and C, in your position statement, when it comes time to the body in the paragraphs, I should see the A paragraph followed by the B paragraph by C. In other words, consistency. Okay? All right, so you got this, all right? In your paper, we want to make sure we do a couple things, okay? Make sure you identify your protagonists. Make sure you tell me, are you handling this as a decision, evaluation, or problem diagnosis? You've done the work. You don't have to regurgitate all the time. So you show me your approach. And then make sure you cover the items that I've given you in legal, in your syllabus, and on the rubric. An introduction, paragraph, followed by the company or the case or the organization, and what is the issue or issues you're going to analyze. Okay? Probably we're analyzing leadership, since this is a leadership class. Right? Explain the organization elements, and then I've given you 4, okay, then 3 to 5. And I'm not limiting you to this, but you need to at least cover organizational culture, structures, styles, and ethics. And coincidentally enough, we've covered all those in this class with articles. Okay, so if you need questions, go back and look. And again, if worse comes to worse, go back to your text, look up leadership styles and review those. A lot of you still remember transactional leadership style, transformational leadership, transformative leadership, you name it. Okay? All right. And then we look at the analysis of the issues and the approaches. Okay, and then explain the importance of the type of leadership concepts that you use. Why is culture important to your organization? Why is the organizational structure important? Why are the leadership styles? Okay. In the case of Mr. Spiegel and staff, it's pretty clear why his leadership style is so important. It's important. That's probably why people are walking his annual place lots. All right. So I've done a lot of talking here, and still I don't think anybody has dialed in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up. Let's check. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's emailed. So I'm going to leave those off. I'm going to post this obviously to YouTube. This is the channel. The link will be in its normal spot. For those of you who don't know where that link is, some of you do because I can tell you're watching the videos. 8 people did 1, 6, 5, for what? Excuse me. But right down here, up to where I take attendance, you'll see weekly office hours, June 2nd. I've got that on the screen. Clicking that, you'll see week 1, 2, 3, 4, and the line. So, for example, last week, week 6 session. Does that sound right? Yeah, that would be week 6 session. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a new topic, week 7 session. I'll put in the link to this video. And then any questions, concerns, comments, you can do it here on this device, or email me or let me know. Okay, so getting close. Okay, you're almost there. Week 7. As you know, next week you've got your final papers due, your final exam has to be taken, and then you're done. And then it looks like for some of you, I'll have you for LDR 360, which is leadership through innovation. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, LDR 360, and that'll be your text. Okay. Again, I'll put all this out. It won't open obviously until probably Monday, a week out. But again, there's the LDR 360 syllabus, which tells you everything you need to know about what we're doing. I'll leave this up for right now. And here's your textbook. It's the 13th edition to Managing Innovation and Entrepreneurship history book. It's a great textbook. It's really solid. And I think you'll really enjoy it. All right. So I'm supposed to keep this up for about 40 minutes. So I'll let this continue. And for now, what I'll do is I will end this with a video.
Sharing contest. Go. Oh, you don't like to play games. Well, neither do I. So get the Quicksilver cashback card from Capital One. Unlimited 1.5% cashback on every purchase every day. What should you do?
All right, what you got to kick out of it. All right. Okay, so again, hey, everybody keep up the job you're doing. You're doing great work. I'm trying to extend your zone. So if you're doing A-level work, I'm trying to push it. If you're doing C-level work, I'm trying to push it. Okay? In other words, it's your time. It's up to you how much you want to put into this. But my time is your time. So, I kind of know now where everybody's at. And if I see you slacked off a little bit, I'm assuming it's because of 4 weeks or something happened. I'm still going to challenge. Okay? Don't let anything that I write or say to demoralize you or cause you to think you don't know what you're doing. Okay? It's not the case. What I'm trying to do is help you along, and I want you to get your money's worth out of the course and out of your time. No, this is your time. Okay? Just clean up my screen a little bit. Let's see. Now, okay, I'll close that out. And we'll start this is in about 3 minutes. I don't know about you, but I've had a long day. Worked full time for a company in support of a unit here at Camp Lejeune. And so I understand. I got my undergraduate degree while I was a full-time Marine, and I was working part-time with the university that I was going to. And been a variety of companies that made it to Bradley's as a loss prevention specialist. Sporting tech. Well, I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have kids. And that's the reason. It's because I didn't have time. But go on dates at that time. So I get it. Visit people. Do the best you can. Hang in there with it. Have questions, give me a ring. They're proud of what everybody's achieving. Keep after it. I really encourage you. Okay? All right. Thanks from there. And take great care of yourself. Just letting the clock wind down.